Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a couple of simple pair of earrings using my Jessie James Beads Mini Mix Orange Bell Pepper. It's getting a little low in here, but definitely enough for these two pair of earrings. So let's turn down and we'll work on those. So here we are with our Jessie James Beads Mini Mix Orange Bell Pepper. And these beads all came out of there except my little spacer beads, little flower caps here. And actually these beads in this package came out of a different set because I had already used the one that was identical to this in this set. So since they were a little different, I switched them both. But if you have these sets, these left, these are definitely work. So let's set that aside and we'll get to dump one of these sets out and we'll look at it. So we'll put this one aside right now. This will be the second one we make and we'll work on this one here. So got our beads out here and I've got a couple of copper ball head pins and a couple of copper ear wires. Now these beads, other than the bead caps, all came out of this set. So what we want to do here is we're going to just make a really simple dangle earring with this bead first. Then we'll use one of the bead caps, one of the pearls, the bead cap, this copper oval bead, another bead cap, this rondelle, another bead cap, and the little orange crystal. See, aren't those going to be pretty? So we're just going to string those just like that. So we'll just put the other one together here. Now this wire's a little crooked, so you'll want to straighten that some. Okay, now that we have our two ear wires, the beads all settled down onto them, we're going to get our chain nose pliers and give these a 90-degree bend. And then what I use is my step to bell making pliers. Now if you don't have step to bell making pliers, but if you do have a small set of bell making pliers, you can still use those, or you can use your round nose pliers, whichever works easiest for you. So put this, I use this, make the loop with the smaller one, so put the bigger size into the curve and pull this around and all the way till it makes this lollipop shape. See? We'll do that with the other one as well. Now that we have that done, the next step is to put in our ear wires. Now that's really simple. All you do is take and feed the loop through down your bent wire and then snap it into place. Now if you've got this tight, it may not want to snap into place, so you may have to loosen your wires up just a little bit where they meet so that you can get that to go in more easily. Like I'm going to need to do apparently. So just pull it up just a teeny touch and then feed in again. See how that went in pretty well now? Then what I do is take and grab right here where they come together, switch hands because I'm right hand dominant, so I want to wrap with my right hand, and then we're going to wrap now. If you don't like a wrapped loop, you could always use a simple loop too. I prefer a wrapped loop. I feel more secure with it. It's not a necessity, obviously, but I do feel more secure with it. So then if there's any excess wire, just cut that little bit off. And tuck it in. And now this particular earring is done, and we just have to, come on, just have to do the other. This is a little teeny bit crooked, I noticed, so I'm going to take this and just roll it just a hair's breadth. That's much better. Now let's do the second one. And we'll do that exactly the same. I'm going to pull this up just a hair right now before we fight with it at all. Feed the wire on. Grab it. Switch hands. Grab the wire and start our wrap. Cut the excess. Tuck this extra little bit of wire in. Straighten anything up that needs straightened. I think this one's a little better than the other one was. And there we have our first pair of earrings. Simple, but very pretty. So let's get started on the second pair. So put these to the side and we will get our pieces out. Now this is gold. This is actually sort of rose gold, but we're going to work with gold here. So we're going to straighten our head pins up a little bit. I've got 2 of them in gold. Now to straighten, I just run my fingers up and down the wire and with a little slight pressure to the direction I want it to bend to. This one I didn't quite get the bottom. As you can see, it's a little bit wonky there. So we're going to take our pliers, since that's just a weird little bend there, and see if we can't squish that bend out. Oh, that's better. So we've got 2 gold eye pins, or excuse me, they're ball head pins, 2 ear wires, and then we have our beads that we're going to use in our little baggie. So let's dump those out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this, one of the wires, drop this little tiny spacer down on here. Now this spacer is out of my stash, but the beads are all, like I said, out of this particular, that's not the way I want it. I want this bead right here, that pretty orange bead. Then we want this. And this beautiful faceted little bead. So that's what these are going to look like. So put this one together as well. Now, as you can see, if I hadn't used this other gold bead for something else, this would have fit nicely right here as well. I think these ones came out of Autumn Maple or something, an older one, but it was still a Jesse James mix. But now it's time to just bend these at their 90-degree angle, just like we did the others. And then we'll get our bell making pliers out again. Put the larger side down below the loop, the bend, and smaller side up, wrap around the smaller side, drop it down, bring it around into its lollipop shape. Do the same with the other. Now sometimes when you're doing this, you bend it a little bit. See, I've got that one a little bit right there, but it's easily fixed. And that's over a little bit sideways, so just make it. See how I just changed that a little bit? So now that we've got that done, we put the ear wires in. Now if these had a definite front and back, you'd make sure you wanted to feed these in so that when you fed them, the ear wire was to the back, or backwards to what it was going to end up being. But these do not, so I'm not as careful with them. So again, we've got the ear wire on. We grab the wire just where they come together, switch hands, grab our second pair of pliers, and wrap. And if you get things a little crooked as you're wrapping, because sometimes, you know, these wires, they just want to go wonky on you, don't worry about it. You can fix them to a degree after you get it all wrapped. And I will see if this one is going to need any fixing, and if it is, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. This one wants to not wrap anymore, so we'll just cut this little bit off. And tuck it in. Now let's see if she's straight. I sort of suspected she's not going to be because I felt her turning a little bit as I worked. See how the head is a little bit off right there? So turn it the way you want it. Bring her up here. Straighten. And then you can put your pliers in and just give it a tiny little tug sideways, and it's much better. So I think this ear wire is a little crooked still. Let's see what we got. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Now we'll do the second one. And to do the second one, we do exactly the same thing. We're just going to feed our wire on. Grab it with our pliers right at the base. Switch hands. Grab the wire and wrap. And I think we've reached that point where it's time to trim. And then just tuck that last little bit in. Now do be careful when you're tucking because this top one is a glass bead. Now as you can see, we're a little crooked again. See how that is? So just take it and straighten. And if you need to get your other pair of pliers involved again, that's fine. Just grab right there at the neck and bend it back a little bit and then roll it over. Let's see how we did. Well, this looks pretty darn good. So there we go. There's our two pair of simple dangle earrings made with our orange bell pepper Jesse James Beads Mini Mix. This one with copper, this one with gold. Doesn't it make a lot of difference when it's the different colors? But I think they both turned out very pretty. This one, of course, is more delicate because it's got smaller beads, but still a really lovely pair of earrings. So anyway, there's our earrings. This is the orange and gold set. this is the orange and copper set. Aren't those pretty? Both made from the orange bell pepper Jesse James Beads mini mix, just adding a few things from my stash. Namely, on this one, the bead caps, and of course the wires and the ear wires and the bead, the ball head pin. This one, all we added was the little spacer, the ball head pins, and the ear wires. I think those both turned out really pretty. This is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I hope you enjoyed making these earrings with me. Bye-bye.